In a packed courtroom, the air is electric as the jury delivers its verdict. Meta stands accused of prioritizing profits over the safety of children. The room falls silent as the weight of the decision sinks in. A decision that could unravel everything Meta has meticulously built. Eyes are on the judge, waiting for the next move. What are the implications of Meta's AI model and its impact on child safety and competition? In the bustling tech world of 2020, Meta made headlines with its ambitious acquisition of Giphy, a deal reportedly worth $400 million. This move was more than just a business transaction. It was a bold declaration of Meta's intent to dominate the digital communication space. For millions of users, Giphy was a playful, integral part of online interaction, its GIFs punctuating conversations with humor and emotion. As Meta expanded its empire, its influence seeped into the daily lives of ordinary people. Social media users relied on Meta's platforms not just for connection, but for information, entertainment, and even commerce. The stakes were monumental. Every decision Meta made had the potential to ripple through the digital universe, affecting countless lives and businesses. Yet, beneath the surface of this digital giant's success, whispers of concern began to emerge. Allegations hinted at a darker side to Meta's rapid growth. Questions arose about the true cost of its innovations, particularly regarding the safety of its youngest users. And soon those whispers would become impossible to ignore. In June 2022, the tension in the boardroom was palpable. Meta's executives gathered to confront a new reality. The U.S. Department of Justice had reached an agreement with the company, demanding changes to its advertising practices. At the heart of this was a $115,000 settlement over discriminatory advertising. The message was clear. Meta's algorithmic prowess was under scrutiny. As the meeting progressed, discussions turned to the looming deadline of December 31st, 2022. By then, Meta had to implement a new system to address disparities in housing ads. The clock was ticking, and the stakes were higher than ever. A failure to comply could mean more than just financial penalties. It could shatter the trust of millions. Outside the boardroom, the whispers of concern grew louder. Allegations of Meta's AI model exploiting children's weaknesses were no longer just rumors. Investigations into Facebook and Instagram were underway, probing the potential dangers lurking within their algorithmic systems. The balance between innovation and responsibility was more precarious than ever. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the UK Competition and Markets Authority had already ordered Meta to reverse its Giphy deal. The decision was a stark reminder of the global challenges Meta faced. The empire, once seen as an unassailable force, now appeared vulnerable. In the final days of 2022, as the world celebrated New Year's Eve, Meta's leadership knew they were on the brink of a new era. The choices they made next would determine the company's fate, and in the shadows, a new threat was beginning to take shape. In the first days of 2023, the halls of Meta buzzed with a mix of anticipation and dread. The company stood at a crossroads, facing mounting pressure from all sides. Allegations of prioritizing profits over safety had reached a fever pitch, and the scrutiny was relentless. Inside the conference room, the air was thick with tension. Executives pored over reports detailing the alarming findings of ongoing investigations into Facebook and Instagram. The accusations were damning. Meta's AI model was allegedly exploiting children's vulnerabilities, raising serious concerns about child safety measures. These revelations threatened to upend everything Meta had built. The stakes were clear. Compliance with the Digital Services Act's rules on privacy, safety, and security for minors was non-negotiable. Failure to adapt could result in fines of up to 6% of the company's global turnover, a financial blow that even a titan like Meta couldn't ignore. As the discussions unfolded, the urgency in the room was palpable. Executives debated strategies, weighing the cost of compliance against the potential fallout of inaction. The clock was ticking, and every second brought them closer to a decision that would define Meta's future. Meanwhile, the competition and markets authorities' demand to sell Giphy loomed large. It was more than a business decision. It was a symbol of the global pushback against Meta's dominance. The empire's control over the digital landscape was being challenged, and the world was watching. In those moments, the enormity of the situation settled over the room like a heavy fog. The executives knew they were at a turning point. A choice had to be made, one that could either save the company or hasten its downfall. What they decided next would reverberate across the tech industry. In the heart of 2023, the verdict from New Mexico sent shockwaves through Meta's corridors. A jury had determined that Meta knowingly harmed children's mental health, concealing its awareness of child sexual exploitation. The penalty was steep, $375 million, a sum daunting enough to make even the most hardened executives break a sweat. Yet it was only a fraction of the potential 6% fine looming over Meta's $1.5 trillion valuation. Across the Atlantic, the European Union's investigations into Facebook and Instagram intensified. The probe centered around suspicions that the platforms were failing to protect children online. Compliance with the Digital Services Act was non-negotiable, and the EU's scrutiny promised severe consequences if Meta's practices were found wanting. The financial markets watched closely. Despite the turmoil, Meta's stock saw a surprising 5% increase. Investors seemed to be betting on the company's resilience, even as the legal and regulatory pressures mounted. But behind closed doors, the mood was far from optimistic. The threat of a second trial phase to determine if Meta had created a public nuisance loomed large. Meta's leadership, under fire from all angles, prepared for an appeal. The stakes were higher than ever, with the possibility of setting a precedent that could ripple across the tech industry. As the dust settled on the New Mexico ruling, Meta faced a critical decision. The board convened, knowing that what they decided next would shape the company's future in ways they could not yet imagine. In the aftermath of the New Mexico verdict, the implications for Meta were profound. The jury's decision highlighted a critical issue: the balance between innovation and responsibility. Meta's AI model, once a symbol of technological prowess, now stood as a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition. The allegations of harming children's mental health and the concealment of exploitation risks exposed a vulnerability in Meta's armor. Meanwhile, the European Union's investigations into Facebook and Instagram showed the growing demand for accountability in tech giants. The lesson was clear. Dominance in the digital realm came with a heavy burden of ethical responsibility. As Meta's board gathered to chart a path forward, they faced a decision that could redefine their legacy. In the boardroom's tense silence, the weight of the New Mexico verdict echoed like a warning bell. Meta's AI model had been a beacon of innovation, yet its unchecked reach now threatened the company's very foundation. The jury's decision was a stark reminder: technological advancement must never eclipse ethical responsibility. Across the Atlantic, the EU's scrutiny intensified, demanding answers and transparency. The message was unmistakable: protecting children online was non-negotiable. As Meta's leadership deliberated their next move, they stood at a crossroads that would determine not just their fate, but the future of tech itself.